Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we have some new Utopia support to go over in the TCG. That's pretty surprising. Even though Yuma is one of the main characters in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, Utopia has kind of been like the forgotten deck. It's good enough, most people think, because you can just play double or nothing and Utopic Utopia double, and you just win the game. But and they do have a lot of monsters. I think Utopia probably has more monsters than any other deck in terms of like protagonists other than Jaden. So uh, I didn't really expect more Utopia support basically ever, but now we've got retrains of some of Yuma's worst cards. And it's pretty interesting. So here we go. Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization. Go, 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 go for it with new cards in Duelist Advance. Thank you, Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization, for featuring Gaga Girl in a cheerleader outfit from that one episode. All right. So the cards are not only references to some of Yuma's oldest cards, but they're all part of his new archetype. And they have weird names. So this is Zubaba Baba Knight. No, Zubaba Knight. Oh, by the way, I'm going to get every one of these card names wrong, just because they're impossible. Okay, so you know Zubaba Knight, which is just a 1600 attack monster that if it attacks a face-up defense position monster, you destroy it. Well, this is Zubaba Knight, and it's also a level 3 Earth Warrior, but it has two effects. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once each per turn. If this card is normal or special summon, you can activate one of these effects. Add one Zubaba monster from your deck to your hand except Zubaba Knight. And if you do, this card's level becomes that monster's level. Okay, sure. So it's a level 3 monster. You don't play level 3s in Utopia, so now you just have to search a level 4 and make this card level 4. Yay. Or you can destroy one opponent's level 4 or lower defense position monster. I do not know why they have a restriction that it has to be level 4 or lower. Your opponent will never have a monster that is level 4 or lower on their field. So, great. Thank you, game. If this card is detached to activate an Xyz monster's effect, you can add one Gaga monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, cool. So, having effects that trigger when you detach to activate Xyz monsters is pretty nice. Gaga are a lot like that. They'll make like multiple Xyz monsters try and power themselves up, and then they fuse them together into Utopic Future. So yeah, this seems fine. Next up we have Gaga Ganbara Knight. So this is a Gaga monster, but it's also a reference to Ganbara Knight, which is another one of Yuma's terrible cards. Level 4, 0 attack, 1800 defense. Light warrior monster. You can only use each of the first and second effects of this card's name once each per turn. You can reveal one Gaga monster in your extra deck. Special summon this card from your hand, then you can apply one of these effects. Special summon one Gaga monster from your hand, or change the battle position of one monster on the field. So this is really funny. Like, every one of these cards has like an effect that you would never use, like popping a defense position monster or changing a battle position of a monster on the field. But those are effects from the old cards. So Zubaba Knight doesn't see play because it's terrible. In the same way, Ganbara Knight getting to change its position to defense position when it's attacked is also not very good. But you can still do it if you want to. Obviously, you're going to special summon the Gaga monster from your hand. If this card is detached to activate an Xyz monster's effect, you can add one Go-Go-Go monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, cool. So Zubaba Knight searches Go-Go-Go Gaga Ganbara Knight, and then Gaga Ganbara Knight searches Go Goblinberg. So Goblinberg is another one of Yuma's monsters. Admittedly, Goblinberg isn't as bad as the other ones, but the Go cards are all bad, so this is fine. It's a level 4 Earth Warrior monster with 1400 attack and 0 defense. Very funny because the Go monster is actually like being, I guess, pulled by the Goblinberg in a pilot. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once each per turn. When this card is normal summoned... Oh no, it's a one effect. Konami, why? Why do you keep printing cards that can miss timing? What is the purpose of that? When this card is normal summoned, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except Xyz monsters. Also, special summon one non-warrior go-go-go monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Then, if this card is in attack position, change it to defense position. Again, that's a reference to Goblinberg. When Goblinberg is summoned, you can special summon a level 4 monster from your hand, then you change Goblinberg to defense position. Actually, I think it has to be a non-warrior as well. Let me see. Goblinberg is a UR in Duel Links. No, it does not have to be a non-warrior, but I guess so. This is just so that you play other go-go-go monsters besides Goblinberg. If this card is attached to activate an Xyz monster's effect, you can add one Do-Do-Do monster from your deck to your hand. Okay. Next up, we have the level 6 Do-Do Warrior, which is an upgrade of Do-Do Warrior, I guess. Level 6 Earth monster with 2300 attack and 900 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once each per turn. You can send one Do-Do monster from your deck to the graveyard. You cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Xyz monsters. Also, special summon this card from your hand, but its level becomes 4 and its attack becomes 1800. Same thing that the current Do-Do Warrior does, but it does let you mill your Do-Do Dwarf Go-Go-Go Glove, which is pretty good. If this card is attached to activate an Xyz monster's effect, you can add one Zubaba monster from your deck to your hand. Excellent. The only Zubaba monster worth anything other than Zubaba Ba Knight is Zubaba Bancho Gagaga Coat. But you'd probably do that. Okay, now we have F number 0. This looks sick, by the way. Future number 0 Mirau Hope Zexal, which is number F0 Utopic Future Zexal. Rank 0 Light Warrior Xyz monster with 0 attack and 0 defense. It requires 2 Xyz monsters with the same rank, which means you can make it in Exo Sisters. This card's original rank is always level 1, or always rank 1. Gain attack and defense equal to the total ranks of all Xyz monsters you control and all Xyz monsters in your opponent's graveyard times 500. That is awful. Is that a mistranslation? Hold on, let me check something real quick. No, that is not okay. It's not in your graveyard. It is in your opponent's graveyard. That's so bad. Okay, so your monster has 1 rank, and that's it. And you spent 2 rank 4s to make this. This is 500 attack points. Now, if you have 2 other rank 4s, I guess, then it will be 4,500 attack points. Okay, that becomes a little bit better. You could just make Drag Lubuon and summon Numeron Dragon, and then use Numeron Dragon's effect and have 17,000 attack points. So I hope that the rest of this card is pretty good. Your opponent's monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except this one. Also, your opponent cannot target other cards on the field with card effects. Okay. So that sounds like you want to make this card going first, but it has no attack points. So that sounds like a risk. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, as a quick effect, you can attach 1 material from this card, take control of 1 monster your opponent controls. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. Interesting. Okay, so I guess you can summon this in defense position then, and then when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, you can make it so it can't be destroyed by battle, and your opponent cannot target monsters for attacks except it. You better hope they don't have piercing. But I guess that is decent enough. You can detach 1 material from this card, take control of 1 monster your opponent controls. So this does not target, which is really, really good. That means that your opponent, if you activate this effect, your opponent tries to tribute one of their best monsters to try and avoid you getting it. You can just take a different monster. So Yeah. I mean, it can still be negated, which is kind of a problem. Oh, this is a soft once. Oh, it's a soft once. So you're supposed to make 2 of these. Because then your opponent can't attack. They can't target any cards on your field. Oh! Oh! I misread. I am so sorry, chat. Back up! Your opponent's monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except this one. Also, your opponent cannot target other cards on the field. I did not realize it applied to your opponent's cards as well. Never mind, this is the best card I've ever seen. You can stop your opponent from targeting their own cards? How do they play the game? Okay, never mind. Make 2 of these and you instantly win going first. There's nothing they can do about that. Wow, that's really good. Okay. The only real problem is... The take control of one monster your opponent controls effect is mandatory, which means you can't use the ability to protect yourself from being destroyed by card effects unless your opponent controls a monster. Also, even though it's a soft once, you can't chain both your Utopic Futures Exils to the same card. So you're still vulnerable to, like, Dark Hole. But no one plays Dark Hole. They play Lightning Storm. You can just put your monsters in defense position. Having a deck that's vulnerable to, like, basically exactly Raigeki is fine, I think. This is funny. This is actually really... I'm sorry. I thought this was trash, and then I read that you can stop your opponent from targeting their own cards. And now it's just... And now, what are you supposed to do? I would hate this card. If someone uses this... I swear, if this comes to Master Duel and someone uses this card on me, I'm going to uninstall. Because how do you play the game if you can't target your own monsters? That's so funny. I can't wait to play this. Okay. What's next? The cover art. Gaga Girl. Rank 4, 1500 attack, 1800 defense, Dark Spellcaster. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card has a Zubaba, Gagaga, Go, or Dodo card as material, you can attach 1 material from this card, add 1 Gagaga, Anomato, or Xyz card from your deck to your hand. That is basically Yuma's entire archetype, so that is a very good search effect. And of course, when you detach a material from Gaga Girl to use her effect to search, if that card is one of the 4 monsters we looked at before, it also has a search when it's detached as an Xyz material. So you're going to draw like 2 cards that you really need. One of them is probably going to be Automata Pickup, so that you could draw Automata Para. Yeah, it's crazy. This is an insanely good card. A Utopic Future Xyz monster that has this card as material gains this effect. If it is Xyz summoned, activate this effect. It can make a 2nd attack during each battle phase this turn. Okay, so that might sound like it's kind of like weird, but Gaga Girl had the same effect. Gaga Girl has an effect where if you make a Utopia monster with her, then I think she turns one of your opponent's monster's attack points to 0. An Xyz monster that was summoned using only this card and other Gaga monsters as material gains this effect. When it is Xyz summoned, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls and its attack becomes 0. Yeah, so, same thing. It is weird that she's rank 4 when she's level 3. Like, they didn't make a reprint of Gaga Magician. They could have just made this into Gaga Magician. It would have made more sense. The fact that they made Gaga Girl into a rank 4 when she's level 3, I know that she usually targets Gaga Magician and becomes his level, but Gaga Magician's whole point is that he doesn't have to be level 4. He can make his level to whatever he wants. So, this is weird. But, I mean, the card is fine. The only problem is I'm pretty sure that it doesn't apply to UDF. Huh. Number F0, Utopic Draco Future. Oh, this card is always treated as a Utopic Future card. Never mind. I was about to say, Why would they do that? No, okay, all right, yeah. It's just the English is wrong. Okay, perfect. Oh yeah, if you can use this on UDF, that's insane. All right. Next up, we have a heroic champion monster for some reason. So for those of you who didn't watch the anime, Yuma duels against Nystro a lot. Nystro is the guy who has, or I guess they call him Nistro. Nistro. Yuma duels against Nistro a lot, and Nistro has the heroic cards. And Nistro's ace monster is heroic champion Excalibur. And at one point, Nistro gives Yuma his copy of heroic champion Excalibur, and Yuma uses heroic champion Excalibur in multiple duels because it is a rank 4 warrior monster that's gets a bunch of attack points, basically. I think he uses heroic champion Excalibur more than he uses most of the number cards that he picks up from number hunting. So this is a card that's very core to Yuma as a character. It's not a utopic card, but it's really cool that it's getting a reprint. Heroic Champion Magnum Excalibur. Rank 4 light warrior monster with 2000 attack and 2000 defense. Requires 2 level 4 warrior monsters. That's the same thing that Heroic Champion Excalibur does. If this card battles an opponent's monster, during damage calculation, you can detach 2 materials from this card. This card's current attack becomes doubled during damage calculation only. That is a weaker version of Excalibur, actually. I'm pretty sure Excalibur just gets doubled attack for the whole turn. No, it's even longer. Once per turn, you can detach 2 materials from this card. This card's attack becomes double its original attack until your opponent's next end phase. So, This is a quick effect. So I guess it's better because you can do it if you're the one being attacked. But for an archetype that focuses a lot on attacking multiple times in a turn with multiple monsters, having the attack only become doubled during damage calculation is weird. Also, what happens if you can't double or nothing this? Because if you attack and then you can't double or nothing because you can't. Oh no, wait, no. Okay, it still works. I was about to say you can't double or nothing this because you would the battle would be canceled. No, this is during damage calculation. So you attack and then before damage calculation you play double or nothing. Then you attack again and then you use its effect and then it gets doubled again. So technically speaking, this card does work very well with double or nothing because it has 8,000 attack points. But that's still not as good as Draglubion. So weird that they're doing this when they have Zexal era cards that are better than this. Once per turn during the main phase, you can target one other face-up monster you control, equip this card you control to that target as an equipped spell that gives it 2,000 attack and defense. What? As a quick effect, you can target a face-up monster you control and equip this card to that target as an equipped spell that gives it 2,000 attack and defense. Are you going to play this in Infernoble Knights? Can Infernoble Knights make a rank 4? Huh. That would be really funny if this card becomes if this card becomes better in Infernoble Knights than it is in either Heroic Champions or Utopia. I'm actually really curious. I think you might. I think you might play this in Infernoble Knights. That's pretty good. You can banish this card from your graveyard, shuffle 3 warrior monsters from your graveyard into your deck. That's not good at all. Okay, whatever. The first effect is decent, the second effect is hilarious, and the third effect is trash. Alright, that is a continuous spell. I've not seen this card. Gagaga Hope Tactics. Oh, this is a reference to, what is it called? Utopic Tactics? It's not Utopic Tactics. What is it called? Xyz Change Tactics. Okay. Xyz Change Tactics, which is a continuous spell that says when a Utopia monster is Xyz summoned to your field, you can pay 500 life points to draw a card. Okay, so what is this card? You can only use the second and third effects of this card's name once each per turn. Utopia or Utopic Xyz monsters you control whose original attribute is light cannot be destroyed by card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target them with card effects. Are there any Utopia monsters that aren't light? Oh, I guess the Chaos ones? Weird. You can declare a level from 1 to 12, target 2 face-up monsters you control, including a Gaga monster. Their levels become the declared level. That's amazing. So that's just a reference to Gaga Magician and Gaga Girl. So, okay, you can play Hope Tactics, and you can just be like, okay, now any of my monsters can be Gaga Magician, and the other monster is Gaga Girl. This is actually really good. This is very, very powerful. This is a card that you can search, and it gives this otherwise rank 4 deck access to any engine it wants. It's in flavor, because Yuma owns every number monster, but you could literally, like, you could use this card to make, like, you could use this card to make your Dodo Dwarf Go 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 Glove and your Zubaba Bancho Gaga Coat both, like, level 6, and then you could go into something like Photon Bouncer, for example. You could make them both level 8 and then go into Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. You could make them both level 10 and go into Dreadnought Cannon Gustav Max if you wanted to. This is just... It opens the door for all sorts of interesting options. And this is something that Xyz decks in particular have really, really needed. Because with Synchro decks, you can kind of be... Synchro decks do typically have a range, but it's a range. They can kind of, like, play around with what cards they're going to use, which tuner monsters they're going to use, to kind of expand their levels to, like, you know, a deck that focuses around, you know, level 6 tuner Synchro monsters will basically be able to go, like, as high as level 10 and as low as level 4, usually. Because you just mix and match with different monsters in your deck. Xyz decks don't really have that option because their monsters all have to be the same level. So a lot of times in an Xyz deck, you will have just level 8s and you go into rank 8s, or level 4s and you go into rank 4s, or level 6s and you go into rank 6s, and that's it. And it makes the decks extremely predictable. And that is to Xyz decks' detriment. They are very flexible within their own rank, but as long as an experienced player knows every threat that's in that rank, they don't have to worry about anything. So this card lets you surprise people. And that means that you can genuinely, as a player, just pick your favorite Xyz monster and put it into a Utopia deck, and then you can play that Xyz monster whenever you want to, which is fantastic. Like, it's fun, it's useful, and it fills a niche, and it's also a great reference. So this is probably the best card here. I like this card a lot. Number 3, if you Xyz summon a Utopia or Utopic Xyz monster whose original attribute is light, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. Okay, that is a that does not miss timing. Thank you, Konami, for the card effect that will genuinely miss timing almost all the time. You have decided to make sure it doesn't miss timing. I appreciate that. Yeah, you can Xyz summon during your opponent's turn. There are cards that do that, and being able to pop one of your opponent's cards in addition to whatever your Xyz monster does when it's Xyz summoned is very useful to you. So this is a great card. And then this is the card that made me decide to make the video. I saw that Utopia was getting a counter trap card. And I was like, oh no, that's amazing. What is this? I haven't read the card, but as soon as I saw the counter trap symbol, I was just like, okay, this has to be a blind react. Xyz Unbreakable Barrier. Okay, so this card can be searched with the Gaga Girl. Gaga Girl. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once each per turn. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated and you control an Xyz monster, oh no. Negate the activation, then you can attach 2 materials from your monsters, then destroy 1 card on the field. It's an Omni-Negate. A searchable Omni-Negate counter trap. This is going to be good. This is going to be one of the best decks in the meta. This will make Xyz decks playable in competitive. You can play the entire game with this card. What's the second effect? You can banish this card from your graveyard, target one Xyz monster you control, attach one light, utopic, or Utopia monster from your graveyard to it as material. Oh, okay. There are Utopia monsters that care about having like a specific monster as material. Most of the number monsters do. So yeah, this is just great. It basically lets you cheat using like rank up magic, limited variance force or something. Yeah, so this is fantastic. So quick summary, we have 4 really good monsters. that can special summon themselves or trigger effects when they normal summon, and they all search each other. Then you have a rank 4 that searches a spell card that makes it so that you can exceed whatever you want. And you have another rank 4 that makes Infernoble Knights hilarious. And lastly, you use both of those monsters to go into number F0, which makes it so your opponent can't target their own cards, and then you sit there and you laugh at them, and you make 2 of them. And then they can't be destroyed by battle, and they can't be destroyed by card effects, and you take all your opponent's monsters. Yes, amazing. All right. I never thought I would say this, but I will play Utopia when this deck comes out. This is hilarious. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.